When you got a driveway entrance like this, you have a front porch like this, you know what you got to put in, right?
Water feature?
Yeah, water feature, but not, it's not just any water feature for an entrance like this.
Urns?
Boulders.
Boulders.
Fountainscape. Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. When you got a driveway entrance like this, you have a front porch like this, and you have this cool bed over here, you know what you got to put in, right? What is it, Deej?
Water feature?
Yeah, water feature, but not, it's not just any water feature for an entrance like this.
It includes...
Keep guessing. I mean, you wouldn't put a pond here.
Urns?
Boulders.
Boulders.
Fountainscape. Yes,
got it.
That's what we're looking for right here. It's going to capture the attention when you come in the driveway, and it's just like the front entrance of a home. It's a perfect place for a fountainscape. So that's what we're putting in here today. A large urn, a medium urn, a small urn, and then we've got weathered limestone boulders and some driftwood, and we're going to build some pools in it, maybe some cool waterfalls coming out. So all kinds of cool stuff in a big fountain display right here in the front. Right here is where it's going. Got some landscaping going on here, some flagstone walkway over there. So we're gonna build a grand entrance to a beautiful new home. Alrighty, let's see what goodies we have here. Got some 2-inch flex pipe. That's not really a goodie. It's just
a necessity.
Yeah, that's a necessity. Here's some goodies. This says medium stack slate urn. There's some liner. Yeah. Oh, look at the moss growing on it. See that? It's aged.
Psych.
Well, maybe that isn't moss.
It's plastic.
Oh man, it kind of looked like moss. Don't worry, there's gonna be moss. We're gonna be bringing moss tomorrow. Oh wait, there's more in here? There's the medium one. And then we have liner, rock pad, aqua blocks, all the fun stuff. All right, let's paint out the basin. Okay folks, so in this clip, I'm gonna try to cover the basic install tips of a pondless feature. This would include like bubbling rocks, fountainscapes. So basically that means I'm gonna talk about how we put in the basin and the pump and the manifold setup. And then I also wanna try to cover what we think as artists when we construct fountainscapes. Key points we keep in mind while we're building to make a product that looks good, that feels natural, that is balanced. Fountainscapes in particular are really about balance, to make sure that it's not lopsided on one side. And it's gonna be easier for me to explain this once we start building. And we do a lot of trial and error. I'll set things out on top of this basin and I'll stand back and look at it, and DJ and I will talk about it. Where's primary viewing? How's it gonna look from this way? Am I going to need to build something that has 360 viewing? So those are all things that we're thinking about when we're building. But right now I'm gonna talk about the basic install of the basin and just get you a little bit of the fundamentals of putting in any pondless feature. And then I'll switch over to the artistry behind it. So this is the underground reservoir. We're gonna sink this below grade. It's a modular aqua block panel. These come apart, come in little pieces, and we assemble them. Laid out the amount that I needed, spray painted a line around it. That's where I'm gonna dig. These are what, 9 inches, 10 inches?
I think they're 9.
And I want at least 6 inches of gravel on top of them to hide all my plumbing and all of that stuff. So you can figure 16 inches below grade when you come to dig the hole for it. This is the pump vault. This is gonna house our pump once it's in there. All right, so I'm gonna start digging 16 inches below grade, and then we're gonna put in our rock pad and liner. our excavation's done. When you do that excavation, sink a deep spot for your vault, just so the pump sits lower than everything else, and it'll be able to utilize every drop of water in this whole basin. If you just set it up on here, you wouldn't be using 6 inches of the water in the basin. So in one corner, sink in your vault. Before I put in the liner, I put in this rock pad. It's just a felt fabric to protect the liner. All right, let's bring in the liner. All right, so this is for you homeowners. This is a cool project because this is 100% something that you can do on your own. Some of the videos we release, unless you're gonna rent a whole pile of heavy equipment and learn how to run them, it's gonna be difficult for you to do that project on your own. This is a fairly simplistic basin, could easily be dug by hand. A lot of the stuff that we're putting in isn't very heavy. We have an excavator here because we're lazy. Well, no, not really that so much as we do this for a living and we do it every day, so we have it. But if you're a homeowner and want to attempt something, this is 100% a project that you can, if you pay attention to how we're putting it in, you can accomplish this on your own. I just put in a rubber liner. Don't skimp on the liner. I see people attempting ponds and fountain features with like a cheap plastic liner. They never work. We're using liner from Aquascape. It's 45 mil EPDM liner. I don't know if there's other places, like if you could go to Lowe's and Home Depot and get something like that there, but I know for a fact that if you're using Aquascape liner, you're gonna get something that lasts. Okay, now there. That wasn't so hard, was it? Basin's already in. And now we can start getting creative. Just run you through the steps real quick. We did the excavation so that we still have room to add 6 inches of gravel on top of here and be flush with ground height. Then put down our rock pad, protection for the liner, put down our liner, put in our aqua blocks, put in our pump vault, which we sunk 6 inches below the aqua blocks so that we use all our water. DJ, do we want to do all our plumbing first, or do we want to start moving urns around and
Start moving urns.
DJ just likes to skip all the hard work and go straight to what's fun. I don't know, he might win this time. Okay, let's move in some urns. Okay, so this is what DJ and I came up with. We changed a few things as we went. We moved these urns around. One of the things I was thinking about when I was doing this is this really isn't 360. Like, we don't have viewing from back here. The primary viewing is from our driveway and from that front porch. So knowing that, I put my tallest big centerpiece all the way in the back. If it would have been something that would have had viewing the whole way around, I probably would have put this piece in the middle and worked my way out both sides in tiers like this. I would have had shorter urns over here. It likely would have taken more pieces. But since this isn't super visible and my primary viewings are this way, I put my centerpiece in the back right here and it steps down. You'll notice that the difference between these urns is pretty much the same, and the spacing feels balanced. I struggle a little bit to explain what I'm seeing when I do this. I want my spacing and the height to be uniform, and I want it to feel balanced, like it's not. Oh man, just figured it out. Deej, why did you set it up this way?
It looks cool in my mind.
Play with it until it looks cool. Differing heights and differing sizes creates contrast, and it's about balance. That's the best I can explain it. Over here, I'm going to set one of those big stumps we have. I like to work in driftwood to soften things up a little bit so it's not all hard rock. So I'm going to set a big stump in here with roots coming out over this way, and this whole center in here I want to create a deep pool in. So water is going to fall off of these things and fill that pool. And then right here I want to build a dam with our little rocks that we have over there and create a waterfall coming out this direction right towards that porch. And then I have a big flattish rock over here that I want to set over here to fill in this space so it doesn't seem like it just stops right here like this. There's giant big urn that's not grounded. By grounded, I want to make it look like, yes, it's big and tall, but it's coming out from underneath. It's not sitting up on top of something. So if I set a big rock right in here, It's still going to be the tallest thing in the feature, but it looks like it grows up from from below. It's not this pedestal sitting up on top of everything. You'll be able to better see that once I set that rock in. All of these urns, I want to make them look grounded, like they're not setting on top of something, but rather growing from deep below. Urns don't really grow, but you get the idea. I want to make them look grounded. All right, let's bring in some stumps, some boulders. I want to create a little spillway this way too that you can see from the driveway. Okay, I'll give you a rundown on the final plumbing, well, almost the final plumbing. I decided to upgrade the pump this morning, so I don't have it in here yet, but the pump's gonna go in here. The dual union's gonna go on there so you can take the pump out. It's gonna connect into here, and it's gonna go to my valve box where I'll have the ability, if I don't have each of these lines with a ball valve in, all the water would gush out of the lowest feature and nothing would come out of the tallest one. So when we plug this thing in, we'll take off the lid of our irrigation box, and we'll adjust them. Like, we'll cut down the water to the tall one, to the short one, and we can play with each of the features until we have the amount of water coming out that we want. And so from here on, each hose goes to its own urn, and I already showed you how we put a 90 in down there, run schedule 40 up through here. This one's already done. That's what it should look like when you're finished. Silicone's in there. There we go. And these are core filled. They're filled about up to here with gravel to make them more sturdy, and now we'll rock in gravel in around here yet. That'll really lock them in place. We set this big stump over in here. See, this is all going to be pool in here. We're going to take pond foam and we're going to foam off the bottom so the water doesn't go down through here. Instead, it's going to build up in between here. We're going to have some spill out here over this root, some spill out over a spillway over there, and probably none spill out over there, because we're gonna need, it would be cool if we could, but that's not really high viewing, and we want all the water we can get spilling out here. That's why I ran this extra line in here. Even though there's no urn there, I'll just run it into the center of this pool for extra feed. So that's where we are now, plumbing complete. That's a very simplistic, easy to plumb. You don't have to deal with threads or hose clamps. It's all slip and glue. It's very simple. It's quick to install. And in 2 years from now, if you decide, hey, I wish I had a little bit more flow coming out of this urn, it's as simple as scraping back the gravel, popping the lid off of that irrigation valve, and adjusting the valve until irrigation box, and adjusting the valve until you have it the way you want it. So DJ and I were just standing here talking, looking at what we'd built, and we knew we were still going to put a spillway back here and make a waterfall come out of here. And I was looking at this and I was like, it feels, so remember I had talked about balance? It feels lopsided on the left-hand side. We have that big urn over there. We have this big rock right here. Even with a spillway there, I need another boulder right here to bring balance to this thing. We're gonna set that, and hopefully you guys can see what we're talking about. Once I set this boulder here, it's going to look right. So, I don't know if it makes sense what I say. It's heavy on this side, and it looks like it just stops over here. It doesn't transition nicely. We're going to put a boulder here and move this pool out here and move our spillway out to here. So let's set this rock, and hopefully you can see what I'm trying to say. Okay, there, that's what I'm talking about. Now my eyes are happy. They like what they see. Except for one more thing. There's one more spot where we need a very low, flat boulder, and it just needs to be there for the sake of being a boulder. Not really for a framing rock, but it just needs to be there to, I don't know, to make it look right. Right here. I don't want it high because I don't want it to obstruct view, but I just think if I have a rock here and I have a rock there, I kind of need to replicate that triangle that we have up there. I'm not a big fan of twos of anything. When I'm planting, I don't do twos. I think 3s, 5s, 7s, you've heard that concept before, I'm sure, look better. So I'm gonna put a low, slow one right in here.